Ohai. The Republic of Guinea, the state in the Western Africa. Borders on Senegal, in the north and the northeast in the north, on Mali in the east, on Côte d'Ivoire, in the south, on Liberia in the southwest, on Sierra Leone, in the northwest, on Guinea-Bissau. From the west it is washed by the Atlantic Ocean. The capital of Guinea, Conakry. The origin of a toponym Guinea isn't finalized. According to E.M. Pospolav, the hypothesis is probable that the toponym is distortion of the Berber word iguan, mute, as Berber tribes so called the southern neighbors who weren't understanding Berber language. On the European cards since the 14th century the name appears in the forms Ganua, Chinya, and since the 15th century, Guinea. More than a half of the territory of the country occupy low mountains and the plateau. The Atlantic coast is cut strongly up by estuary of the rivers and occupied with the alluvial and sea lowland 30-50 km wide. Further ledges the Fouta-Djallon Plateau dismembered on certain massifs up to 1538 m high. Nantamj rises. Behind it, in the east of the country, the sublime bedded plain to the south of which the North Guinan Height passing into so-called Plateaus rises is located. 800 m. And clumpy uplands. The mountain of the Nimbus, the highest point of the country 1752 m high. It is divided into 4 natural regions: Seaside Guinea, Central Guinea, Mountain Guinea and Forest Guinea. The most important minerals of Guinea are bow, on which reserves the country wins first place in the world. Also gold, diamonds, ores of ferrous and non-ferrous metals, zircon, rutile, a monazite are mined. Climate subequatorial with sharply expressed alternation of dry and damp seasons. The damp summer lasts of 3-5 months in the northeast up to 7-10 months in the south of the country. Air temperature on the coast 27 C above than in internal areas. 24 C. The countries, except for the drought periods when wind, blowing from the Sahara, increases air temperature to 38 C. The dense and river network of Guinea abounding in water is presented by the rivers which are flowing down from the plateau on East Plain and flowing there into Niger, and the rivers flowing from the same Plateaus directly to the Atlantic Ocean. The rivers are navigable only on small, mainly estuarial sites. The woods occupy about 60% of the territory of the country, but the most part is presented by secondary red Castonia listopadni trees. Radical damp evergreen forests remained only on Navatreni slopes of the North Guinan Height. On valleys of the rivers the gallery woods fragmentary meet. Along the coast mangrove thickets in places grow. The fauna of the woods various once was preserved mainly on protected areas. Hippopotamuses, chenets, civets, forest duiker. Elephants, leopards and a chimpanzee are almost completely exterminated. Population minus 12,395,924. 2017 year. Annual gain minus 2.6%. Fertility minus 5.2 births on the woman, infantile mortality minus 63 on 1000 given rise. Average life expectancy minus 56 years at men, 59 years at women. Contamination, a virus of an immunodeficiency. HIV. Minus 1.6%. Assessment of 2007, by the next years of reliable data isn't present. Ethnic structure. Tu'e Fulba 32%, Mandinka 30%, Tusas 20%, other 10%. The main religion, Islam of Sunni sense, 86.7% of the population, 8.9% Christians. Most of them Catholics, are also communities of the Assemblies of God, Evangelists, the Plymouth Brothers. Native beliefs minus 4%. Literacy minus 42% of men, 18% of women. Assessment of 2003. Urban population minus 34%. In 2009. The ancient history of Guinea isn't studied. In the 5th century BB of the coast of Guinea, most likely, were imprinted by the Phoenician seafarer Ganon. In the Middle Ages some parts of present Guinea were a part of the empires of Ghana. The 8th-9th century. And Mali. The 13th-15th century. At the time the territory of Guinea was inhabited by various tribes. The most numerous were a Mandinka, Tu'e Dialanka Tsas. In the 16th century on the Fouta-Djallon Plateau nomads cattle farmers Tu'e Fulba were settled. In the 1720th years the Islamized Talk Tu'e beginning Fulba war minds Tu'e Dialanka and also against full pagan. This war was ended generally at the end of the 1770th years. The early feudal state Tu'e Fulba, Fouta-Djallon was as a result created. In the 19th century penetration of the French into Guinea began. They tried to organize trade relations with locals, but often it terminated in extermination of the European merchants. Since 1865 France began to build on Pepper Coast. In the southern Guinea. Forts and the strengthened posts for protection of dealers. The French tried to sign non-aggression pacts with leaders of local tribes. In 1897 France signed a contract with the governor Fouta-Djallon about protectorate. In 1898-1904 approximately in the territory of modern Guinea there was the French colony Rivière du Sud. Since 1904 the French Guinea is included in the structure of Federation of the French Western Africa. Colonization of Guinea by the French went slowly. Only after the end of World War I creation of plantations of bananas, pineapples, coffee began there. However the plantation economy didn't gain big development. Also slowly I developed in Guinea and the industry. Only on the eve of World War II the first mining enterprises and small workshops of manufacturing industry appeared there. On a referendum in 1958 the Guinean people supported independence which was announced on October 2. Guinea was proclaimed a republic. Ahmed Sékou who installed in the country the one-party system supported with the powerful repressive device for suppression of exploiter classes, which concrete definition didn't exist, but to which presumable opponents of the mold were carried became the president of the republic. In the field of foreign policy he adhered to moderately pro-Soviet course, and in the field of domestic policy was an adherent of scientific socialism with the African specifics. Total nationalization of property became result of this strategy. At separate stages, even the number of dealers on markets was by order regulated. By the beginning of the 1980th years, about 1 million residents of the country abroad emigrated. In 1978-1984 I carried the name, Guinean People's Revolutionary Republic. After Ahmed Tegadour's death in 1984, power was seized by a group of the soldiers who created Military Committee of National Revival headed by Lanz and Conté's colonel, who eliminated within the next 3 years of the main competitors in race for power. At the President Conté, the foreign policy was reoriented towards bigger cooperation with France, the USA, Great Britain. The country began to enjoy modest support of international financial institutions. In the late 80s, process of democratization of political life began. Since the beginning of the next decade, nominally free presidential and parliamentary elections are regularly held. Nevertheless, the victory on presidential 3 times, in 1993, 1998, 2003, was gained by Conté, and on parliamentary, his Party of Unity and Progress, and each round was followed by powerful protests of opposition, what local power ministries traditionally react very rigidly to. The continuing deterioration in an economic situation in the country entailed in 2007 Massachusetts actions with requirements of resignation of the government and acceptance of urgent measures for a country conclusion from crisis. As a result of negotiations between the authorities and the trade union movement, the post of the Prime Minister was transferred to the compromise candidate with the mandate before the following elections planned for the middle of 2008. On December 22, 2008, the President Conté suddenly died and, according to the Constitution, his duties passed to the Chairman of the National Assembly. Parliament. Abubakar Samper, who within 60 days had to hold elections of the new President of the Republic. However, on December 23, 2008, in several hours after Conté's death, a group of soldiers who announced themselves National Council for Democracy and Development (NZER), Conseil National pour la Démocratie et le Développement (CNDD), carried out a coup d'état. On December 24, 2008, duties of the President of the Republic were transferred to the Captain Massadadi Camara in coordination between the government of the Prime Minister Ahmed Tidiane Souare and the military who created National Council for Democracy and Development. The leader of junta appointed elections of the new president to January 2010. At the same time, at first he refused participation in fight for a presidential chair, however then changed the decision, then caused indignation of opposition. On September 28, 2009, in the capital of Guinea of Conakry, there took place the Massachusetts meeting on which dispersal army parts were thrown. As a result, more than 150 participants died, about 1,000 protesters were wounded. In December 2009, on Massadadi Camara attempt during which he was wounded in the head and is shipped on treatment outward was made. As a result, control over ruling junta passed to the General Sakub Konat, who urged opposition to create national unity government later and appointed presidential elections to June 2010. Since December 21, 2010, the President Alpha Conde. On September 28, 2013, there took place parliamentary elections which results the opposition didn't recognize. On October 12, 2016, as a result of negotiations between the President of the Republic, representatives of opposition and civil society, and also with the assistance of the international observers, the political agreement consisting of 12 parts which realization had to provide normalization of a relationship between political blocs and in civil society was reached. The agreement had to help with preparation for carrying out open and independent elections of parliament in 2018 and the president in 2020. On September 5, 2021, in the capital of the state, there was a military coup committed by forces of Elite Military Division of Group of Government Special Troops. GPS. The unit manager Colonel Mamadi Doumbia reported about arrest of the president of the country Alpha Conde, dissolution of the government and parliament, closure of borders. His diplomatic relations with the Russian Federation are established with the USSR on October 4, 1958. In 2018, between the countries, the agreement on military cooperation is concluded. Guinea, the Presidential Republic. The head of state and the governments, the president elected by national vote. The last elections took place on October 11, 2015. In the first round, 58% of votes were received by Alpha Conde, for whom nationality demanding and the small Guinean people gave votes. The people and tribes which supported Sela of Dailin Diallo. I collected 31% of votes and successfully tried to organize protest actions. At the same time, observers from the European Union recognized elections as honest, having noted some organizational problems. Parliament of Guinea, the unicameral National Assembly. 114 deputies sit at Parliament, of which are chosen 38 on a majority system, and 76 on proportional. After a military coup of 2009, functions of Parliament were performed by National Council of a transition period. After long negotiation process between the authorities and opposition with active participation of the international community, on September 28, 2013, it was succeeded to hold parliamentary elections. Unrecognized the international community and most political parties of the country. 2 results. The victory was won by party of the presidential majority, Association of the Guinean People, Rassemblement du Peuple de Guinée, having received 53 deputy seats in parliament. The second place was taken by Union of Democratic Forces of Guinea, opposition party Union des Forces Démocratiques de Guinée. 37 places. The third, Union des Forces Republicains, Union of Republican Forces opposition party. 10 places. Etc. The Supreme Court. The highest judicial and the Court of Appeal of Guinea. Besides the Supreme Court, 2 courts of appeal, courts of first instance and military courts work. Judges are appointed the President according to the recommendation of the Supreme Council of a Magistracy. In addition, there are 2 special judicial authorities. The Constitutional Court, in which jurisdiction there are questions of the constitutional device, and High Court of Justice. High Court of Justice, to which the President and members of the government are jurisdictional. Guinea possesses big mineral, hydroenergy and agricultural resources, however still remains economically underdeveloped country. From 1950, the Soviet Union rendered to Guinea the economic help. With his assistance, the bauxite mining complex and a set of industrial facilities was created, a reconstructed iron and highways, the capital university, the airport, the central stadium, hotel, radio station are constructed. In Guinea there are fields of boh, nearly a half of world reserves. Iron ore, diamonds, gold, uranium. GDP per capita in 2009 minus $1,000. The 212th place in the world. It is lower than the level of poverty, minus 47% of the population in 2006. More than 75% working, 24% of GDP. Are engaged in agriculture. Rice, coffee, pineapples, peaches, nectarines, mango, citrus, tapioca, bananas, potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, pepper, fig and other vegetables and fruit are cultivated. The cattle, sheep, goats gets divorced. The industry, 38% of GDP. Bauxite mining, gold, diamonds, iron ore, processing of agricultural products. Export in 2017, $2.9 billion. Import minus $3.64 billion. The main export goods, boh, 60%. Gold, 19%. Natural gas, fish, etc. Agricultural goods. Vegetables, fruit, nuts, cocoa. In recent years what? The country tries to diversify structure of export and actively works on development of the new export markets. The main buyers, China 44%, India 17%, Spain 13.2%, Jordan 6.9%, Ireland 4.5%, Spain 3.8%, times Spain. France 3.3%, Ukraine 3%. The main import goods, machines and the equipment, 17.3%. Vehicles, 12.5%. Oil products, 11%. Food, rice, wheat, soy, etc. And also drugs, footwear, clothes and cigarettes. The main suppliers, China 34%, the Netherlands 13%, India 10%, Belgium 7.6%, France 5.1%. Guinea is divided into 7 provinces and 33 prefectures. The capital of Conakry is equated to the province. The state broadcasting company, Rotterdam. Radiodiffusion Television Guinéen, Guinean Broadcasting and Television. Is created in 1962 as Voix de la Révolution, the modern name since 1984, the TV channel of the same name. It is started in May 1977. Rotterdam TV channel of Radio Guinéen radio station. Sorfam in 1958 as Radio Guinea is started. And Radio Rurale de Guinea includes. In September 2021 in the country there was a military coup. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.